I uploaded a video not too long ago looking at some of the trains that appear in Family Guy and discussing what real-life prototypes they might be based on. That video got some really great response, and a number of people asked for us to look at the Trains of the Simpsons. So, here you go.
Isn't this dangerous?
It's okay, Bart. This track has been abandoned since
In Season 14, Episode 19, Homer and Bart are stealing ties from a railroad that they think is abandoned until a very recognizable diesel locomotive rounds the corner. I don't think there's any argument that this is heavily inspired by a Santa Fe war bonnet. The engine in the show wears the number 107, which belonged to an FP45 in real life. I'm not sure if this number had any significance to the show or if it was just random. Interestingly enough, this isn't the only time the ATSF or the war bonnet paint scheme will make an appearance in this video. In Season 8, Episode 4, we see Burns riding in his private rail car at the end of an Amtrak train. There's a few layers of realism to this scene, since private vintage rail cars being pulled by Amtrak trains was a common practice up until a few years ago. The Amtrak train itself wears a paint scheme that directly pulls from Amtrak's Phase 3 livery, and if you ask me, the engine in the show looks to be based on either an F40PH or a P30CH. In Season 9, Episode 21, Lisa shares on her news segment that the Union Pacific rail line in Springfield is abandoned when a train rolls by just seconds later. The consist includes a reskin of the previous Amtrak locomotive design, numerous yellow boxcars all wearing the UP branding, and a pretty nicely drawn center cupola caboose. It's hard to say if there are any specific UP engines that they had in mind here, since they reused the same model as previously seen in Amtrak colors. This model makes another brief appearance 10 seasons later in Season 19, Episode 3, in a Milwaukee Road-inspired paint scheme. There's this brief train scene in Season 7, Episode 20. The consist featured is all the same generic boxcar design, however, so I don't think that there's enough to draw from here in regards to a real-life basis. Season 11, Episode 19, however, features probably the most faithfully drawn train in the show, a red GP7 that I must say is incredibly detailed. Many GP7s wore red paint schemes in real life, including the Frisco, CNJ, and Rock Island railroads, but the one that I think is closest to this illustration is the Burlington route scheme. The Amtrak model from earlier also returns here. The GP7, or generic high hood GP design, makes 3 more appearances in the show: Season 14, Episode 14 in a green paint scheme, Season 23, Episode 17 in a yellow paint scheme, and Season 10, Episode 17 in a gray paint scheme. It's hard to say if the illustrators had any paint schemes in mind for these engines or if they just picked random colors, so let me know in the comments which railroads you think these engines might represent. This EMD-inspired diesel also appears in the show, which to me looks more like an SD40-2 styled engine. Earlier in the video I mentioned that the Santa Fe will make a few more appearances in the show, and here's another one, in Season 12, Episode 4. This looks to be an EMD E6 wearing a fictional green war bonnet paint scheme. Some BNSF SD70 Max wore a kind of similar paint scheme to this, but I don't think the animators were necessarily inspired by those, but rather made the train green to reference the theme of the episode being Lisa's environmentalism. The Santa Fe E6 design makes another appearance in a much more neutral gray and red paint scheme. The plot of Season 14, Episode 2 revolves almost entirely around a monorail, which I guess is technically a train, so let's include it. I know nothing about monorails outside of Disney World, so I don't have any idea what specific set this would reference in real life. If you have an idea, let me know in the comments. Season 22, Episode 8 features the show's spoof on the Polar Express. The funniest thing about this to me is that you can tell they used the Lionel product art as a basis for the drawings, since the angle of a few of the shots are basically carbon copies of the photos seen on Lionel packaging. And just like that, we are down to the last 2 trains that we're going to take a look at in this video, which also happen to be my 2 favorites. In Season 29, Episode 21, we see a train that, in my opinion, is a dead ringer for a New Jersey Transit GP40PH-2 with matching passenger cars. Even the NJT lining can be seen replicated on the passenger car. And my favorite train appearance in The Simpsons is in Season 9, Episode 16, which features a tribute to the legendary railroad photographer O. Winston Link, complete with that N&W Class A design. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know in the comments what video you want to see next on the channel, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.